Government's hopeful that Eskom will keep the lights on over Christmas, but South Africans can expect stage 2 load shedding to continue, for now at least, as the utility battles to get units that have broken down back online. Eskom previously warned that blackouts will continue until March. It's been using expensive diesel-powered generators as a backup, but this is blowing Eskom's budget. Let's chat more about this now. I'm joined in studio by Wayne McCurry from FNB Wealth and Investments. A very good morning to you, Wayne. So it's not an issue of coal, as we have been told, but you believe it's got more to do with money?
Yeah, look, they just can't afford to maintain the power units properly, because understand this bout of load shedding is very different to the previous long one we had, in that there wasn't enough generating capacity, whereas now there's enough capacity, it's just all broken down. So normally Eskom would operate at about 90% of available capacity. They're operating at 75% of available capacity at the moment. In other words, there is some planned maintenance, but there's a lot of what they call unscheduled maintenance, which actually means breakdown.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, what then to do? There's been a number of reforms, new leadership,
yes,
and it's just not yielding results.
This is such a big ship to turn around. I mean, the minister said himself this was the organization that was most infiltrated by state capture, and it's just going to take, it took a decade of state capture, and he says it's going to take a decade to get state to recapture the organization. And of course, there's no money. So when you look at Eskom at the moment, it is unsustainable in its current state. It just simply cannot afford the debt, and it can't increase prices because we can't afford it. And even if prices are increased, you just use less electricity, so it doesn't mean they get more money in. So something's got to be done, and we're at that sort of, I suppose, a juncture point where this is a proper crisis now.
Yeah. Let me ask you what I asked the CEO of SAA. He was talking about a turnaround strategy to get that parastatal functional. How long can South Africans be patient for? We survived no load shedding in winter, and in December we're here again.
Yes. Look, there's no other option. Take SAA. If you close SAA down tomorrow, we as taxpayers will have to find, call it 20 billion rand, payable immediately. You can't close Eskom down. That is impossible. So you've just, it's literally, we are where we are, and it's going to be a long struggle out of this. But the government's got to make some, I suppose, structural decisions. Eskom has got to get rid of 100 billion rand debt, or 200 billion, pick a number almost. And there's only two ways you can do it. Either the government takes it over, which means once again you and I pay, or they privatize part of Eskom. And you're at that stage now where these very structural decisions are going to have to be made.
Yeah, a bleak Christmas for some executives at Eskom, with the minister stating that they will be working throughout December to ensure that we have electricity. Some reprieve?
Look, I mean, the minister clearly yesterday was a bit grumpy, because he flew into Eskom there and he said lots of things, and maybe Eskom, I wouldn't like to work there as a senior executive, because it's a virtually impossible task. You can't win, because you are sitting with no money, you're sitting with plant that hasn't been maintained, you're sitting with blackouts throughout the whole country. I mean, load shedding is a very nice euphemism, but it's a blackout. So it's an incredibly difficult situation to find yourself in. You're not selling any more electricity because it's too expensive. No one's going to open up any new factories here because the electricity supply is unreliable. So it truly is going to take a decade to turn this ship around. You can't just change management and a month later everything's working again. Eskom's carrying 400 billion rands worth of debt. Maybe it goes to 500 billion by the time they finish their capex. That is an unsustainable level of debt.
I guess in the same breath, we can't be pessimistic all that much. As you say, it's going to take over a decade to get this right. But we are Africa's world-class city, but this threatens our status.
No, look, it threatens the whole country. Look, maybe we mustn't overstate it. It's so easy to overstate it. The good news is there's more than enough capacity. So in other words, if you fix what's broken, there's enough electricity, and that can be done. Running these diesel generators costs a fortune, and one of the problems now is there's just not enough diesel in the country to keep these things powered up. So Eskom was begging diesel from all big users to try and get some diesel in, but these generators are 400 times more expensive than coal-fired. So they've got to get off these generators because it costs hundreds of millions to run them. But you've got to keep the lights on. In other words, the broken down stations, and coal is a bit of an issue. I mean, there is a coal problem because of Tegeta and the Guptas and not enough coal supply. But all of these can be solved. So the good news is there's enough electricity capacity. The bad news is you just got to fix what's broken, and that can be done. You know, it's not like the last lot where there just was not enough generating capacity and it took 10 years to build new generating capacity. So hopefully by Christmas everything will be okay, and hopefully in the new year, when demand truly picks up again, there'll be enough units back online.
Hey, if all else fails, we'll just go back to the way we grew up: candles, family, love, and light. No phones.
Yeah, no, you just
that could be a silver lining.
Sit in the dark at night time.
Thank you, Wade McCurry from FNB Wealth and Investments.